you know, all the various places are this cold snap, a lot of places can't mine for steel. So a lot of steel plants are closing down, like in China and other places of the country. So you have the man of steel. So how does the global warming, that's actually some of the coldest temperatures in years, you know, making it hard for you to mine for steel? You know, and then we'll just kind of go with whatever we can for steel. You know, whatever you think about. So just US. So are we filming?
Yeah.
This is Bond, Jar Bond, talking to you about the economy. Now, because of the recent cold snap around the world, many of the steel plants around the world are closing down and unable to manufacture new steel products for the year. Now, we're out here talking to the man of steel about the closure of many steel plants. Now, Superman, how has this cold weather affected steel prices, or how have they affected the man of steel?
Well, with me, they haven't affected anything. As you know, it affects a lot of Americans out here, as it is with the economy, the way it's going with houses foreclosing, and I think it's another way for the government to control people. I think that the people need to stand up and go to our president and our chairmen in office and talk to them about the situation.
Now, a lot of times the steel industry is criticized for its heavy union connections. Now, do you feel unions help or hurt the various manufacturers, particularly the steel industry?
I think they hurt them. You have a lot of unions in corporate, like Disneyland, ABC, Jimmy Kimmel. They don't pay their people the right prices. They don't pay in benefits. It's been a problem for a long time. I think it's time to change that. Like I said, the people need to have a voice for this and start standing up. I think it's coming to that because a lot of people are losing a lot of things out here.
Now, also, the unemployment report recently came out not too long ago, and unemployment was at 10%, and the underemployment rate was at 17%. Now, how has unemployment affected you, or particularly other people in the steel industry?
Well, usually when that affects people, they have nowhere to live. They live in their cars. Car industries start falling apart, which we've already seen. You know, people are going broke. They're losing everything. That's the biggest thing. When you lose everything, you know, people start waking up and talking about this. You know, you see people out here every day in Hollywood Boulevard with signs protesting against our government, against our officials, with good right. You know, when you sleep in your car and lose your house, and you know, you can't eat and you can't find a shelter to go to when it's cold.
Well, you bring up an interesting thing. Now that cars are being made of less steel, how has plastic cars affected you guys?
Plastic cars?
Yeah, because I mean, you're the man of steel. Cars in the old days used to be made of steel, you know, and now they're made of plastic. Well, now, is that a reason that steel workers are out of work?
I don't think so. I think that, like I said, it's cheaper cost. You know, steel does cost a lot. You know, people don't want to pay for that. There's a lot of things that are out there that can help people, help the population. But like I said, people that have money and power, they want to control that. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing big governments, unions, our country being run by other countries that are profiting. China, Japan, Russia. You know, like I said, I think a lot has to do with war and kind of like a cloud of smoke over everything. You know, we're still talking about war when we're not even helping people that don't have a place to live, can't put food in their stomachs, but we can build bombs and tanks, and all of our jobs seem to be in the military.
Now, what could we do to possibly help people get jobs, or, you know, particularly help people in the steel industry?
Well, like I said, you know, it amounts to people standing together, making sacrifices. You know, that's basically what it is. Instead of having a union of government, we need to have a union of people against our government, and talk this out and make it very clear that people are suffering out here, that it's not just a majority or a minority of population. You know, it's a lot of people. You know, and then you look out here to Hollywood Boulevard, and You know, you see people out here every day spending money. So, you know, it's kind of a illusion, if you want to, you know, call it that. It just depends on who's holding more money, the government or the people, and right now the government is.
How long are we? We're only 5 minutes. Jeez, feels longer. Keeping on the steel topic, what can we think of? Because I'm only about half through.
I don't know, you're the announcer.
Okay.
We could talk about anything.
Now, particularly, there's U.S. Steel. Let's see, there's U.S. Steel. Okay. Now, U.S. Steel is having quite a bit of issues and troubles in the current market. Now, do you see people maybe moving more over from steel to other metals like Alcoa, aluminum, or other metals besides such a heavy use in steel?
Well, I think that that we've already been going through that. We went through silver, copper, gold, and now we're going through steel. It's like I said, I feel myself that it's a control. You know, we go back to that, and you know, you see all these cash for gold commercials. You used to see it with silver. You know, people were stealing copper. You know, it's just another precious metal that's worth something that they can suck $1 out of. And you know, it all comes down to power and unions and people that, you know, really want to control our finances.
We often hear of scrap metal drives for aluminum. Now, do you think it's possibly hurting people in the steel industry because you never really hear of a scrap metal drive for steel? Should we be possibly recycling our steel?
Well, you know, the thing is I think in the past 5 years they've been talking about global warming and how different materials affect it. And, you know, obviously there was some controversy on some files being stolen of that. And like I said, you know, I don't think it makes a difference on what the material is. It's just basically trying to control money flow to the population that can't make that type of money.
Now, speaking of global warming, of course, we at the Predatory Lending Network, we like global warming. But there's been a relatively strong cold snap around much of the country and most of the world. That's why we're not getting a lot of steel manufacturing.
Yes.
Do you think this global warming thing is, you know, all a bunch of BS, or is it for real? Or, I mean, of course, I like global warming, and everyone seems to be against global warming. So is it for real, or, you know, because it's actually pretty cold right now.
I think it's half and half. I think, you know, when you watch certain media, they do blow up things to a certain point for certain groups of people that do profit out of it. But I do think there is global warming. I think that this has been going on for longer than what it has been announced to us. I think a lot of things right now, they wait until the last minute to protect us or to keep us secure against any type of forms of disasters, whether it be weather, war, famine.
Now, what besides yourself protecting us from all these dangers, what can the government or what can people do to protect themselves from these threats that we're seeing in the future?
Like I said, the only thing that we can do is band together and prepare. You know, don't believe too much hype that's out there. You know, such as the H1N1, you know,
yeah,
flu virus.
I remember that one.
Everybody jumped to that, and it was never experimented to help people, and people just they get things. You know, we're in a world now where something comes out, people got to have it. The new iPhone comes out, people have to have it, and then 6 months later they find out that it doesn't work, or it doesn't produce what it's supposed to be producing, and then we kind of put ourselves back in the hole.
Like, I know when the iPhone came out, people were lining up around the corner to get the iPhone. At the same time, they were lining up around one of the banks because the bank was going out of business. On the same day, they had round-the-block lines of people lining up for iPhones and to get their money out of failing banks.
Well, that's what I'm saying about...
people had the priorities wrong or something?
Well, like I said, it's the illusion. You look on one side of the street and you see tons of people that have money to buy iPhones, and then you have another majority of the people that are across the street pulling their money out because their bank is going to, you know, go out. So they're, you know, you kind of see how both sides are. And like I said, that's how the world is now. You know, you think somebody's something and they turn out not to be. You know, that's just how it is now. You know.
Let's see how much time. Alright, yeah, we're a little, I'm going to have to edit a little bit. Alright, so closing statements. Any last? Okay, so in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say to our viewers?
Well, always watch this guy. He always tells the truth. And that people should prepare themselves, not be blinded by certain media that don't tell truths. Love their families and take care of their families, because there's a lot of families that are going through a lot of hardships, and hopefully this will change around pretty soon. And people like yourself are bringing this message out, and I appreciate that.
So again, this is Jarbon, the Predatory Lender Group, talking to you guys about the economy.